Hi there, it's Elaine Gardner, the founder of DesignYourHealthyLife.com. And today I really just want to thank you if you took the time out to take the recent survey that I sent out. The results were so fascinating to me, and the whole point of that survey was to get an idea of what people's concerns and questions are about food to make sure that I'm covering all of those topics in my upcoming Food Freedom program. And the great news is that everything's already in there. But it was just so exciting and interesting to read everybody's responses, and I really just appreciate if you took the time to do that. So I don't know about you, but I've taken surveys in the past and I never know the results of those studies, so I wanted to share those with you today. And the first question there was, how concerned are you about chemicals and additives in your food? And I was very pleased to see that 79% of my respondents said that they are very concerned, and only about 20% said that they are somewhat concerned. There's so many different additives and preservatives and chemicals and things that people don't even know what they are in our food supply, really things that honestly shouldn't be in our food supply, but the tragedy is that they are, and that the food manufacturers are not making food with our health in mind. They're looking at bottom line and profit. So there's many things in our food supply that are not good for the human body. And it's really just great and heartening that that's on everybody's radar, because it's really such an important issue. The second question was, do you read labels when purchasing groceries? This one was really interesting because about 59% of my respondents said that they always read labels, and about 42% said only sometimes. Really interesting results. And while I wish that everybody was reading labels all the time, I can easily understand why that wouldn't be the case. Our labeling laws are really just weak and poor. And there's so many things on labels that are highly confusing, whether it's an ingredient label and things like xanthan gum and carrageenan and nitrates and BHT, and what are those things, and how do you even figure out if that's something you should or shouldn't be eating? And then there's labels like organic and non-GMO project verified that actually have legal meaning and are really important, and other labels that say grass-fed or cage-free that aren't legally regulated and have no meaning, and really, in my opinion, shouldn't be allowed to be on food because they're not legally defined, and they're not typically telling the truth when those labels are there. They're deceiving customers and knowing that customers are looking for higher quality foods. So that's a real tragedy. And one of the things I talk a lot about in my Food Freedom program, and one of the first things I talk about, is organic. And because the USDA organic label actually is legally defined and has a great deal of meaning, and is one of the easiest things that you can look for to get better quality food without a ton of the things that your body doesn't need. So studies show that organic food has more nutrients than conventionally grown food. So that's a huge plus right there. And then organic foods are not allowed to have pesticides, insecticides, synthetic fertilizers, genetically modified ingredients or GMOs, hormones, antibiotics. There's a huge list of things that are not allowed in foods that are produced organically. So it's a huge win. And yes, it does cost more money, but you get more of the things that you do need and less of the things that you don't need, and that could harm your health. So it's really a huge win, and it's well worth your investment in order to buy those kind of organic foods. So that's a simple, easy, quick win situation to look for more organic foods. It's certainly not the only thing you need to, and I'll cover a lot more about that. I have a free video series coming up in a few weeks, and it's going to be an introduction to the online course of my Food Freedom, and we'll be covering more of those labeling things in that short video series. So I look forward to sharing that with you soon. And the third question was, how often do you eat out? And more than one time a week, 33% of my respondents said that yes, that's the range they fall into, and 67% said just a few times a month, and no one said daily. So I was really thrilled about that, because I have the perception that a lot of working people just eat on the fly and eat out daily, and even if they're choosing what appears to be a healthy option, there could be so many hidden things in that food, from bad oils to hormones and pesticides and all kinds of things that can really be detrimental to your health. So that was really exciting to see that most people aren't eating out daily. And that the vast majority are only eating out a few times a month, and I fall into that category as well. I certainly don't want to be restricted not to be able to go out to eat, and I want to be able to enjoy a meal, a celebratory meal with family or friends or special occasions or when I'm traveling, and not worry about that. And I have some secret weapons that I employ to protect my body from things that I can be eating, or that I will be eating, and not knowing what I'm getting when I'm eating food out, even though I'm making good choices in the restaurants that I do choose to dine at. So I'll be sharing those with you as well in my Food Freedom program. And in the comment sections, I had quite a few people say they have sugar cravings and that unhealthy foods appeal to them. They're concerned about preparing foods, not knowing how, and not having the time, or thinking that it takes a long time to prepare food. Getting their family on board and being able to feed their children well. They're concerned about the cost of food and what to do in social gatherings, and about trusting labels and planning ahead. And again, the great news with that is all of that information is covered in my upcoming Food Freedom program. So again, I'm incredibly grateful for the time that you took, even though it was just a few minutes, to share that information with me. It really encourages me to know that I have all my bases covered and get all your questions answered in my upcoming Food Freedom program. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love hearing from you. I love hearing your opinions, trying to understand what your needs are, and creating things to serve you well, because as you know, I want you to have the health that you need to live the life that you deserve. Until then, I look forward to connecting with you again soon.